Hi, this time I want to talk about how not to let looking up things get in the way of the flow of a tabletop RPG session. How many times have you seen a similar situation? You make your way across the crystal bridge just above the shark infested sea. You are before the crystal structure rumored in legend and myth. A set of double doors grants access into the structure. Thanor the warrior says, I lean my two-handed sword against my body, supporting it with one hand. I approach the double doors, and I open them just enough. I once again hold my two-handed sword with both of my hands, and with my shoulder I push the door. I walk inside, ready to face anything that lies deep within. And then the game master. Okay, let me look it up. I'd seen a book here somewhere. It's this other book. Sorry. Just a second. Here it is. Okay. Before you use it, shattering the immersion completely. And this doesn't just apply to running modules. This also applies to looking up rules. And you cannot achieve immersion like that. You are not role playing. When it comes to board games, the rules take a priority because you want a balanced structure. You play board games because you want to win the board game. You enjoy many things about the board game, but a big part of board games is winning or losing against someone else or against the AI system. So you are playing board games for that experience. But when it comes to tabletop role-playing games, you actually need to roleplay. When you roleplay, you achieve immersion. And that immersion is shattered when you start to look up things constantly. If the player is describing his or her actions, and you spot that you will need a certain rule or a certain part of the module if you are running a module, etc., either you designed the module or you purchased it, while the player is talking, start to look things in a very discreet way. If you cannot find it by then, so the player is like, I am going to blah blah blah, and then, or I am taking this position in order to, while the player is talking, that's the few seconds that you have. Maybe the player characters are talking with each other. You know, like in my actual play, when Esben and Killian were talking, that's the perfect opportunity for you as a game master, if you don't remember a rule or an encounter with it, start looking things up discreetly. And you need to pay attention, of course. You need to develop that multitasking. And then that's the time that you have to look things up. If you haven't found the rule or the encounter by then, I'm sorry, you will have to handle it the Dave Arneson way, the true roleplay way. You will have to come up with some ideas to improvise things. Otherwise, it's going to shatter the immersion. Remember that Gary Gygax? He was a wargamer and also a businessman. The reason why he applied rules to many things was basically because he had that, how would you say, wargamer tradition ingrained into him. Or like, yes, that tendency. So he wanted rules for everything. He was also a businessman, so he was constantly thinking there should be a rule for that. That way he could create these additional books to sell. So do not give priority to that. Dave Arneson was all about the roleplay. Dave Arneson achieved immersion because he was constantly improvising, applying systems and subsystems based on the context of the situation. If you want to shatter immersion the immersion shattering way, keep on looking up things. If you want to achieve immersion, You must give priority to the flow of play, the flow of roleplay. Maybe you have trouble remembering some things. Get those cheat sheets ready, those script sheets. Have them close at hand. If you're running a module, make some notes beforehand. Keep your notebook ready, close, and perhaps with some bookmarks separating those sticky notes, using sticky notes to find those sections immediately while the players are describing their actions, while they are having those dialogues. Any sort of opportunity, you should consider it like a free moment for you to look up things. If you cannot find what you are looking for after that chance, for the sake of immersion, come up with your own rulings. After the session, maybe you can discuss things with players. I handled this in this sort of way. Were you comfortable with that? Do you think, do you prefer the official rule? In the next case, I am going to be memorizing the rules. I will apply things better. Or after the session, you can talk whatever you like. During the session, don't interrupt the flow. Even if you have like some sort of, problems memorizing things, I'm sorry, but if you want to actually roleplay, you will have to improvise. There are very few things that are more pathetic than a game master or referee stalling things because you need to look something up. You shatter the immersion. I'm sorry, but you have not achieved roleplay. You have not achieved immersion through roleplay, rather. You are not roleplaying. You are focusing on playing some sort of board game. Like in a board game, let's see if that's legal within the rules, right? You want to keep things legal within the rules because you want that competitive experience in a board game. That's the only reason why you play board games. That's the main difference between the rules for a board game and a role-playing game. The fire spell. In a board game, you deal 3 points of fire damage. That's it. When you have the enemy in the line of sight. In a tabletop role-playing game, the fire spell, you cause this amount of points of fire damage. This spell can be used to light things on fire. It is said that this spell reacts with this other spell, so you have a lot more complexity because a tabletop role-playing game is a representation of a considerably complex situation that could arise in a fictional environment, in movies, comic books. Even if it's a simulationist game, even more so in a simulationist game, there is a lot more depth and complexity. And that's also another reason for you to keep the flow of things going. There are going to be many situations in tabletop role-playing games that are not covered by the rules. This is actually pointed out in many tabletop RPG rulebooks. So you need to come up with those rulings if you actually want to roleplay. So those are my thoughts. Let me know your own thoughts and comments on this. Don't get obsessed with applying this rule in the perfect way. If you have to sacrifice roleplay, if you have to shatter immersion, it's not worth it. That's why you are playing a tabletop role-playing game, to achieve immersion through roleplay. For those of you that are just getting started with the hobby, please check out the videos in the description. You will find many useful things there. Once again, thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.